The Longhorns beat Clemson 38-24. Texas fans, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. And check us out at HornSports.com for all the latest in Texas news. Now, this is a quick reaction video courtesy of me. No Dylan this time around, but that's okay. We might be better off for it if he's watching this. But no, all jokes aside, the Longhorns, they faced some adversity in this one, and they were able to overcome it, which I might pose the question to you guys. You probably will have an answer, I hope so. But when was the last time Texas was able to face this kind of adversity against one of the better opponents in the country at home and come away with a victory? It seems like there's been a lot of great atmosphere games at DKR in recent history. Of course, with there being Georgia earlier this year and Alabama a few years ago. But Texas did not win those games. So this might honestly be Steve Sarkisian's first real big victory at home, and of course the stakes were a little bit higher with this being a college football playoff game, and if you lose, you're out. But Quinn Ewers and the Texas offense did just enough to win this game. Now Ewers' stat line's not going to be sexy, I'll read it off. However, yet again, he did what he needed to do. He had one missed throw that cost his team a drive. He wasn't able to hit Golden on a crossing route a little bit behind him, and that gave Clemson the ball back. However, other than that, really a solid day for Ewers. He was 17 for 24, which is 71% completion percentage on his passes, 202 yards, which isn't crazy. He had a touchdown to Gunnar Helm, and then also threw an interception. However, that interception was on a dropped ball by DeAndre Moore, which got then picked off by a Clemson defensive back. Can't put that on Ewers. It seems like lately it's either all boom or bust for Texas. A lot of dropped passes, deflected passes at the line of scrimmage, and those have not gone well for Texas. Yet again, the Moore drop pass definitely hurting Texas. But Ewers also had a deep 60-yard throw attempt to Ryan Wingo, which was perfectly placed. Wingo was not able to come down with it. It was well played by Clemson defensive back, but Ewers really put it in the only spot that he could have caught it anyway. But anyway, to get off the Ewers train in terms of starting this video out, the star for Texas today was the running backs, led by, of all people, welcome back Jadon Blue to the club. Over 100 yards rushing, well over 100 yards rushing, 146 yards on the day, 14 carries, and 2 touchdowns. He's been in the doghouse as of late, recent weeks after fumbling a couple of times earlier in the season. Sarkisian has leaned on Quintravian Weisner, who of course started this game and also had himself a heck of a day, but was injured during the action and then was put on the sideline as a precaution not to further, aggravate that injury. Weisner also had 15 carries, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which is a big bounce back from what Texas did against Georgia in the SEC championship game. In that game, the Longhorns rushed for just 31 yards on the night, and you're not, of course, not going to be beating great teams if you're not able to run the football and really set the tone at the line of scrimmage. Texas did just that with 292 total yards of offense just running the football. That doesn't include throwing. 292 yards running the football against Clemson. But let's talk about this game a little bit, and then we can dissect further if we wish. Opening drive for Clemson. Dylan and I talked about Cade Klubnik. We've seen him play in high school many times at Westlake. Really one of our favorite recruits to ever cover. And that's part of the reason why we know what was going to happen in some ways in this game. Cade Klubnik, guys, is a competitor. He's hungry to beat Quinn Ewers, that's for sure. But he also, not only just being a competitor, he gets better at the toughest of stages. This, of course, a road game in the college football playoff with your team's hopes and fate on the line. That's plenty of cause enough for him to go off, and he did just that. 336 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns. He did have an interception on a tipped pass at the line that was caught by Colin Simmons. But other than that, no major blemishes on Klubnik's day for the Tigers. Yet again, a heck of a performance we'll discuss in a second, but coming down to the wire, Klubnik was able to lead Clemson back into the contest. Texas, thanks to Jadon Blue's 77 touchdown yard rush, mixing up the words there. Blue's 77-yard rush really just add the extra cushion that Texas needed, because Klubnik made it a one-score game with 11:43 left, so early in the fourth quarter, and TJ Moore was a receiver on that 7-yard touchdown pass. But after that, things did not look good for the Longhorns. Adversity has been really the name of the game for this team all year, and they've been able to bounce back when they've needed to. And that Jadon Blue 77-yard touchdown rush was just that. It added some space, a two-score game, making it 38-24, which ultimately was the final score. But guys, I think that's one of the things to discuss. Overall, all good for Texas. However, the thing to nitpick was just Texas has an inability to put away the opponent when they need to. When there's opportunity to close the door, it just seems like that is the moment at all times in every game that the Longhorns just kind of stutter at the moment, an opportunity. And that's what happened here today, because Texas entered the half up by 28-10, 18 points, despite Klubnik's really tone-setting first drive for Clemson. That was about it from the Tigers in the first half in terms of major happenings. After that, the Texas running backs rushed for 3 touchdowns and, again, ultimately led 28-10 at the half, and things looked good. The first drive of the second half took about 7 minutes. I believe it was about 6 minutes, 50 seconds if we want to get technical. Ended up having to settle for a field goal, which of course is not ideal. However, they did get points on the board from that drive and chewed up a lot of clock. But other than that, that was a quiet third quarter for the Longhorns. Clemson came storming back. Again, Klubnik, when he's down, that's when he really does his best work. If he feels like an underdog on any level, he just suddenly gets better. And for Texas, it didn't seem like they had an answer. Ewers, again, missed one throw, which really hurt Texas just in terms of the momentum battle. It was not an opportune time to miss that play. Excuse me, just getting emotional about this game. However, Ewers did enough. It's just in those scenarios, Texas needs to be able to put away opponents, and oftentimes it falls on the hands of different guys, but as a team, you just need to be able to step up and deliver the knockout blow. Because once you get Clemson down even more, like one more score, I know Texas did lead this one by 21 with 8:10 left in the third quarter after that opening drive that I was discussing that just chewed clock. They were up by 21, but after that, they weren't able to capitalize to extend that lead. Even by another field goal would have really made it difficult for Clemson. They hung around this game, and it seemed like they were going to at least tie it up if it wasn't for Blue's big rush. But just to talk again about the different units, quarterbacking for Texas, I would say had a decent day from Ewers. Nothing crazy, but not a bad day at all. 71% completion percentage. That's all you need, really. Yet again, one small error. Other than that, he did more than what he needed to do to put Texas in a great situation to win. And you can see that just given the final score of 38 points, that the offense on all cylinders was humming. And just because the running backs showed up doesn't mean that they were the only contributors here, because otherwise the score would still be lower. But the running backs, A+ grade for this one, especially after the SEC championship game performance. The receivers was really up and down. Gunnar Helm had a good day with a touchdown reception, but otherwise nothing crazy. I mean, he had 6 receptions, and everyone else below him had 2. 2 each, that is. Matthew Golden 2, Jadon Blue 2, Wingo 2. You can keep on going on. But just not a crazy day from the receivers. But yet again, they didn't need to. The running game was working, and if the running game is working, you don't want to overthink that. At times when things started to go downhill, Sark was getting a little cute with the play calls, which, of course, he is one of the geniuses of college football because of his ingenuity just at developing all these intricate plays that are a little bit funky, and when they work, they work, and when they don't work, they don't work. And this was just one of the times where it wasn't working. It slowed up the offense a little bit, but yet again went right back to what was working earlier in the running game, and that did what it needed to do. Defensively for Texas, it was not a great game, but as we talked about in the preview video, this quarterback, Cade Klubnik, is likely, in my opinion, Dylan might disagree, but in my opinion, likely the best quarterback that Texas has played this year, and likely to have played this year depending on their matchups if they're able to keep on winning games in the college football playoff. So as I discussed in the preview, Texas has been beating up on some teams with some not great quarterbacks, to put it bluntly. Klubnik was going to be an opportunity to see whether they could continue to do just that. And it wasn't the case. Yet again, Klubnik throwing for over 300 passing yards. But it was just him keeping Tigers in the game. And there's some misplayed, balls in the secondary for Texas. But even then, I don't know. You can't really blame it entirely on them. Klubnik's first touchdown pass of the day to Antonio Williams that started up the scoring action, and yet again, as I mentioned earlier, set the tone. That was on what should have been called an illegal pick play. I mean, if you're Clemson, you're going to dial that up and hope the refs don't call it, and kudos to them. They called up that play. It didn't get called, and it worked, and it set the tone early for Clemson. However, Texas just really leaned on that running game, winning at the line of scrimmage. And when you do that, you really beat down the will of the opponent, as you saw here. However, as I mentioned earlier as well, when you're up big, you really have to deliver that knockout punch. And Texas didn't do that. It kept Clemson's hopes and dreams alive in this game, and that's what happens when you leave the door open. Opponents start to feel confident again, saying, hey, I know we're playing this top-ranked team, but they're not able to shut the door on us. We're able to hang with them. And for really about 3.5 quarters, that's what happened here. However, Texas, adversity. When it struck, they were able to bounce back. Big win for the Longhorns. Big day for the running backs. And you did just enough to stop the Clemson Tigers offensively. And that was the strong suit of their team this year. You did that. You beat the best quarterback, arguably yet again, as I'll get in debate with many about, or you beat the best quarterback you've played this year, and he is going to be a big test because you see what you're able to do defensively in actuality. Can you hang against the better teams in college football? It looks like the Longhorns will be okay, but yet again, that depends on the running game of Texas. Can they be present at the same time the passing game is? Today is a little bit more running heavy, but the passing game did just fine as well. But all this to say, a win's a win. Texas moves on to play Arizona State in the Peach Bowl of the college football playoff. There's so many bowl games. I'm excited for this one. What do you guys think about Texas's performance against Clemson? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Check us out at HornSports.com for all the latest. And as always, have a great rest of your day.